All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Coffee and Cigars live stream here on the Odo Live channel. I'm Jay. Welcome back to the show. We're here every Thursday night for the Thursday night hang at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you haven't seen us before, come and join us live. If you're just watching us on the replay, we do coffee, we do cigars, we do all of that every week. So how y'all doing today? Everything's good? It is Thursday, August 1st. Man, terrible. I can't believe it's August 1st. It's that the year, of course, is always going by faster and faster every time. So today I'm actually on the road at an undisclosed place, my brother's place, and so it's pretty darn hot outside. So I'm in their kitchen where it's still kind of warm. So prepare the drink, and then we'll kind of take it outside. Today, our coffee drink for the day is going to be something. If you watch the morning show, you would have seen that already. But this is Eclipse coffee syrup, and Eclipse coffee syrup is the official drink of Rhode Island. Like this really is. In 1993, this was named to be the official drink of Rhode Island. It is part of their whole history. It actually started in the early 1930s, 1932. There was a company called Silmo that started making a coffee syrup and making something called coffee milk. It's coffee milk that is the official drink of Rhode Island. And 1932 is when they started Silmo. Then 1936 they came out with this one called Eclipse, and then 1938 another company called Autocrat came out with a third, and those were the major three battling it out for coffee syrup supremacy in the state of Rhode Island. Mom, how are you, man? Good to see you, Mom. Good to see you. And Devin's with us today too. What's going on, Devin? How are you, man? Good to have you with us. And so that's pretty much it. So these three companies were the dominant force in coffee syrups and coffee milk in Rhode Island. And through a series of events, by 1991, the company Autocrat has, through a series of mergers and all this stuff, had taken control of all three brands. So Autocrat today produces Eclipse and Silmo. I think they produce Silmo. I think they're all three available at the grocery store. How I got this one is I was in Rhode Island a couple of years ago, and I was driving through there, and I went, "Oh, let me stop by one of the grocery stores and check it out." Actually, I think I actually bought this in not in Rhode Island, but I think I bought it when I was in Mystic. I stopped because I remember stopping by a grocery store in Mystic, Connecticut, and I think that's when I picked this up. And of course, this is actually expired by a year, so it's technically old, but commercial products never die. Commercial products never die. So it's really simple to make. We're going to make the coffee milk, which honestly, as I've been thinking about doing the coffee milk on this show, I'm like, coffee milk, milk and cigars. That's, to me, for some reason, that just sounds like a dangerous pursuit, right? Like, will there be some kind of weird reaction to the coffee milk or to the milk in general? I don't know. I don't know. So we're going to give it a try, though. We're going to give it a try, and, come what may, come what may. So I've got some milk here. I stopped by the Whole Foods earlier today and and got this thing from Homestead Creamery, which is a creamery down in Virginia, in the Blue Ridge Mountains, a place called Burnt Chimney, Virginia. So we're going to take some of this. We're going to take a little bit. I'm going to use this glass to show you how we make it. So we're going to use about 6 ounces. Let's do that much. We'll do that much milk. Okay. Really nice quality milk. I don't know if you really should be using such nice quality milk with a commercial product, but we're just gonna go for it. We're just gonna go for it. We're gonna take. So this morning we did two. It's a little bit lighter. I think we're gonna go for 3 of these. And Devin says the cafe con leche. Yeah, I guess it really is just a cafe con leche, or kind of like a latte, that kind of thing, but sweetened. So there is an amount of sugar here. So we're just going to take a tablespoon. I'm going to do 3 tablespoons of the syrup. 1, oops, 2, 3. And I put it in this thing here, and I'm just going to stir it up. Now, the way that there are directions. This is kind of to the direction of that's on the packaging, but everything that I've seen from Rhode Islanders that have posted on the internet, they're basically like, put a couple tablespoons in your milk, taste it, add as much as you want. So just make it to your taste. All right, that's actually not as sweet as the coffee cabinet that we have. Now, there's another drink that's made with this syrup called coffee cabinet. And coffee cabinet is basically a milkshake. And so earlier today, I used the milk with some ice cream from a place in Santa Barbara, California, a McConnell's ice cream, vanilla ice cream. And it turned out all right, but it turned out really sweet, you know, and it, too sweet, too sweet, too sweet. So this time we're just going to go with this very straight coffee, lightly sweet, a little bit more pronunciation with, because the earlier we used 2 or so, this is 3. So there's definitely more of the coffee flavor coming out, but not as sweet, which is really ideal, I think. Okay, so I'll put the milk back. I've also taken the time to chill down this corksicle mug. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually put some ice in here. Just a little bit of ice, right? And then I'm going to transfer the drink into the cup or into the mug. That's going to give us some. There's something I might try later that actually has, what do you call it? That actually has, instead of using the milk, maybe use, what is it called? Maybe use the club soda. So I've got club soda too. Gonna put the lid on this thing. All right, now we're ready to go. We're gonna take it outside now and go and have our cigar for the evening. Although, hold on, my sister-in-law is calling, or is mess. All right, hopefully that's good now. All right, let's go out of here. We're gonna go outside to the deck. Oh, all right, all right, all right. We're out here now. It's kind of hot. It is hot. It's really hot today. Like, it's not so pleasant how hot it is, right? So let me just put everything in the stand. And then we can continue on with our normal show. All right, all right, all right. You might be wondering, why am I down here on the lower deck instead of up there in the nicer chairs? Mainly because there is a light over here, so it'll be a little bit more conducive to what we're doing. Let me just figure out how to set this up here. All right, I think that's better. Oh man, it is brutally hot out here. Brutally hot, brutally hot. Like it's hot, it's humid. Oh my gosh. I mean, we've been lucky for most of the year, most of the summer, because it's been relatively, on the Thursdays, it's been relatively nice. This is probably the worst Thursday we've had this summer so far. So, um, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, so tonight's cigar is one called the El Regalo. El Regalo, El Regalo Cubano. This is I got from Old Virginia Tobacco. And I forgot where I got it from. I thought I got it from San Diego. But when I looked it up online, I did get it from Old Virginia. And this is actually a brand that Old Virginia produces. And the strange thing is there's no information whatsoever about this cigar anywhere on the internet, except for a couple pages from Old Virginia Tobacco where they're selling it, but they don't really say anything about it. Nothing about origin, nothing about the blend, nothing about anything about the cigar other than, here we have them for sale, which is a kind of a strange. I mean, they did have an update to their blog posts for back in April or March where they had a special running on, buy 5 or whatever, get extra free. So I don't know what the deal is with this, but there evidently are 2 types of these El Regalo cigars. One is a natural, and the other one is what they call the Jalapa. Now, I have to say, based on what little I know about this, so here it is. Here's the cigar. El Regalo Cubano. So there's a Cubano natural, there's a Cubano Jalapa. And I'm going to say this looks fairly darker than what I imagine these naturals would be. So I'm going to think that maybe this is the Jalapa. Maybe. George, what's going on? It's a warm one on the balcony. Oh, yeah, baby. I hear you on that. I'm totally out here with you on that. Had to pull out the fan for air circulation to help cut the humidity. That's a great idea. Here at the house, they have a big AC unit out here, just over here to my right. And that's probably the only fan that's out here. So it's not really helping. Just, if anything, it's making it hotter. Now let's look at this. This is actually really, it actually, now that I have the wrapper off, it feels really nice. It feels really nice. And Devin says it just rained here, so cool but wet. Oh, nice, nice. You're down in Florida, right, Devin? Is that correct? So actually, silky wrapper, like it feels really wonderful. Tony's with us. What's going on, Tony? How are you, man? Good to see you. Actually, it feels really nice, and it's very pretty as far as a cigar goes. And I did get the robusto, the R size, which now that I think about it, is probably a bad idea because it's pretty short, and who knows how long that's going to last. Lightly spicy, lightly manure, but pleasant, interesting. Oh, I'm really sweating. All right, so let's get into it. I since I'm out on the road, I just didn't bring any accoutrements, but I do keep some in the car. So I have this Firebird cutter that I've had in the car for many, many years. Actually, I was somewhere in the world and I bought it while traveling, and I was like, this is just going to be the car. This is going to be the one in the truck. So double guillotine, but nice. It's nice and it's fairly big. So if I ever decide to get a thick ring gauge, there'll be no problem, man. Ah, yes, Florida. Excellent, excellent, excellent. And so we're just going to take this. We're going to take this. We're going to go thus. Just like that. Got to be a little bit careful where I put everything so there's no caps and stuff lying around. I don't think my sister-in-law will be very happy if I left all this cigar stuff all over the place. So there's our cut. Pretty decent. Right? Let's have a see about the draw. Draw's nice. Draw's nice. Easy draw. A little bit of resistance, that's comfortable. Maybe just a light sweetness that's coming across the tongue. So I would say that if this is our fragrance and aroma, very good, very good. 8. Let's go with the lighting. Now for lighting, I've got this old lighter, this quad. What is this? This is a quad lighter, quad torch, old school. Look at that. This just sits in the car too. One thing I'm kind of worried about is like I had this one torch lighter from, I forgot who it was, but some of you guys, we were hanging out at a cigar shop one day in the middle of summer, and I kept it in the car, and I kept it in a little travel humidor. And when I came back to it, it had blown up. Like this part here had looked like a grenade. Like it looked the shape of a grenade, the old World War II grenades. But it was empty because the thing had exploded essentially. Like the butane superheated and expanded, and then expanded the shape of the casing, which didn't result in catastrophic detonation of the lighter. What had happened was it grew so much that it broke the seals and then everything leaked out. So that was lucky. But this one, sometimes it's a little bit, oh no. had it working earlier, and now, oh, maybe when I put it in the car, it had gas the other week. Uh-oh. Okay, that's tragic. I'm gonna have to go back in and get the. I have some matches. Let me go get the matches. Let's go get some matches here, which is not too. I mean, it's a little bit troubling, but not too bad because we have to. It's a short cigar, and we need to stretch the time as much as possible. Where is? I've got a little pouch here that has more accessories. Should have a lighter in there. Here we go. Little Saints and Sinners lighter here. Action going on. Perfect. Oh, it's nice to come and take a break with the AC. Worst comes to worst, I got matches in the vehicle. Oh. All right. All right, all right, all right. Okay. Now we've got our Saints and Sinners lighter. I'm getting a little bit of crosswind this way, so all right, there we are. There we go. So how was your week, everybody? How's everyone's week been going? Everything good? How's things in your world? Also, of course, let me know what you're smoking tonight. I am interested to know, especially if you're out here in the heat. In the heat. We're going to be sweating and smoking tonight. I noticed my sister-in-law has this really nice, big, it's a little bit dry at the moment because we just got to the watering today, but she's got a pretty nice little basil bush here. And I don't know if you guys do much basil work, but it's really nice to have fresh herbs in your garden. I've been keeping herbs for the last few years now, and really wonderful. And finally, I'm starting to learn how to actually do it correctly. Like, I trimmed these already earlier, a couple days ago, but at the very top, you'll see sometimes they'll be flowering. You want to cut the flowers off so you get your basil to be nice and bushy, right? This is ideally bushy, right? Then you can pick and pick and pick and have lots of pesto and whatever you want to make with it. So, and you can just get the ones that they have at the grocery store. They have those basil plants at the grocery store that are potted or they're little pots. Just take them and transfer them right away to a bigger pot, and then they'll grow. It's actually really quite nice to have. I've got regular basil, Italian basil, as well as Thai basil. And then I've got this big, big bush of like thyme, and my sage is growing very well. And a lot of them really easy to do. Really easy, not too much thinking. Tony says he's having the Ave Maria Divina by AJ Fernandez in the Toro size and with the dietary Pepsi. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Excellent. All right, let's see about the drink here. Like, let's go to this coffee milk and see how the coffee milk pairs. Like, well, first of all, our initial thoughts of the lighting. It's actually not terribly forward with much of anything. It's got some tobacco flavor. It's relatively mild. Like we've had some cigars, recently that are pretty like, punchy or complex or interesting. This is just kind of like mild, not terribly bold. A little bit bright. You know, compared to a lot of cigars we smoke that are, this is just kind of like very simple, very like not terribly hard. Devin's having the Aganorsa Supreme Leaf. Excellent, excellent. I do like what Paul Palmer them are making down there. I really had the pleasure one year of going, I think 2016, I think it was, or 2014, maybe 2014. We're down at, but I guess it was 10 years ago. We're down in Nicaragua. And it's 2014, but we were there for the, we were there for Cigar Safari. I was there to buy coffee, and then I scheduled it so that I would buy coffee the first week or so, and then meet up with the guys and go to the Drew Estate Cigar Safari the next week. And then after that Cigar Safari weekend, a few of us stayed behind and hung out for a little bit and hung out with different people. And, you know, it just so happened that, what's his name that owns Illusione was in town, so we got to meet up with him. I got to, you know, hung out with Paul Palmer from Aganorsa, as well as Arsenio Ramos, right? The very, very respected cigar blender who really kind of welcomed me into his world. Like him and Paul were very welcoming to me, and like, you know, so Arsenio and I kind of sat there and like talked cigars or just talked in general. Of course, Arsenio doesn't really speak much English, and my Spanish is not so great, but that did not stop the very kind friendliness that he showed to me. And then every time we would see each other at industry events after that, he was always very gregarious towards me. But we sat there in their tasting room, just tasting the little different, you know, bundles or little rolls of different flavors. And he was talking about how he blends and what he thinks about it. So really, really an interesting time, really interesting time. George says he's having the Iroa Maduro in a large ring gauge. Nice, nice. And with a nice cold Chardonnay. Oh, that would be so nice. A nice Chardonnay. You know, here's something for you to check out. Since you like the Chardonnay, and I don't know, I don't remember what the grape is, but if you like that Chardonnay, there was this one wine, and I think I've talked about it on past episodes. The Weingut Bastion from the Moselle region. If you buy there's a place here called Mount Washington Winery next to the Whole Foods. If you go there, like if you're coming up to see Tony on Saturday, go there and tell the owner that I sent you. Tell him you're there for the Weingut Bastion, like the $30 bottle, right? This one is a white wine from Moselle, very like relatively dry. Like it's not super, like it's not like a Riesling that's really sweet. It's really dry, but what's really beautiful about it, man, it just had beautiful fruit and just this wonderful structure. Like there was so much structure to it that I was just like, holy crap. Like I normally like sweet wines, right? Sweet Rieslings. I like that. Like the Bastion also makes a Riesling that's very fun to drink, but it just doesn't have the structure. Like it doesn't have the same body and structure. I mean, there's just the only way I could describe it, there was just such a beauty to the structure. Like I was just like, oh my gosh. I wanted to buy the $17 cheap, not cheaper, but the cheapest of the offering in the Riesling. But I had to get the $30 one because the structure was just so incredibly beautiful. I'm just like, and then there's the one that's below that, like $24. I don't know if that's the one that's grown on shale or not, but man, a little bit better affordability, and not quite the heavy structure that $30 bottles had. But really beautiful. But if you go there, if you end up going there this weekend, just tell the guys, hey, tell him you know me. He's the tall guy. And just tell him, hey, I sent you. Weingut Bastion. Bastgen. Really, really, I just love it. I love it. Kind of wish I had that now. Actually, I brought it to a party the other week. I put it, nobody drank it. Nobody was drinking it. And I was like, you know what, man? I'm taking this bottle home with me because this is just not right. It's not right. All right, let's try our coffee milk. I just feel that it's so freaky, but I don't know why I'm so freaked out by it because we'll drink milkshakes with, chocolate milkshake with cheeseburgers and fries and not think twice about it. But this, I don't know, I just felt so like freaked. So I gotta say, the cigar smoking nice, draws snug, but not tight. I would just say snug, a little bit more pressure to pull on it than some of the other cigars we've had recently. But it's relatively mild. It's not terribly punchy. It's not terribly distinct. It's just kind of like, I'm just a nice cigar for you to smoke. Spend your time. I'm not terribly like interesting. I'm not terribly like dynamic. I'm just a nice cigar. At least that's how it's starting off so far. A little cooler breeze coming through now. That's good. If the breeze keeps up steadily like this, it'll be very doable. So I'm here watching my nephew. He's 12 years old. And, or is he 13 now? Maybe he's 13. Well, they get to a certain age, you start to realize what it is. No, he's 13. Is that right? No, he's 14. Is he 14? Has his sister had her sweet 16? I don't think so. Oh, she had a 13-year-old. Okay, so anyway, whatever the case may be. So I'm here watching him while everybody's away. And it's been a nice time. Been a nice time. I gotta say though, those of you guys who are parents, kudos to you. Like, when you're just the uncle, you have you have your time, right? With your nieces and nephews, you have your time. You spend a little bit of time, and then you return the children. Right? They go back to their homes. This is really kind of my first like real experience with longer term, and I'm not saying long term. It's not been like a week. It's only been like 3 days. But you're always going, right? And I'm just like, wow, man, like I wonder, could I? I always thought that I could be a parent. Like I always thought that I would have children, but like I have not. But it's, guys, man, there's no break. There's like, I was just thinking about this morning because it's like, I have an end date. Tomorrow is my end date, right? And then I can pick it up again at some other time that I may be needed. But I'm pretty much done tomorrow. When you're a parent, it never ends, does it? You're just like in it forever until you're dead. And I'm just like, wow, man. Like you can't. There's certain things you can't do. Like for example, I was thinking about this because I was like, I've been wanting to go see the new Deadpool and Wolverine. I was going to see it Sunday night. Nah, I didn't make it. Monday night I was going to see it. I didn't make it. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just bring my nephew with me. And then I was like, oh no, he's too young. I can't bring him now because now I missed my opportunity to go see it, and I can't bring him because he's too young. And then I just can't like run off to the movie theaters with a 10:10 showing now because I can't just leave him at home all by himself. I mean, I could. He'll be probably perfectly fine, but you just can't do that. So man, it's like you're in it. You guys are in it. Respect, man. Respect. And then when they're younger, like he's 13 or whatever, and so he's doing his thing. Like most of the time, he's doing something. He's in his corner, reading or doing something. I don't necessarily have to attend to him, but like when they're young, man, you got to attend to them. It's amazing. Amazing. A little bit of brightness. That's really kind of it. El Regalo means the gift. It's the gift is. Devin wants to know, am I giving him coffee? Get coffee. I should be. I should be. We took him out to eat, have breakfast this morning. Went to a place here in Baltimore called what's it called? It's called the Corner Pantry. Not too far away. A British restaurant. You know, they specialize in British style breakfast and lunch, and very nice stuff. I mean, I know some of the staff there for many years. Very nice people, really nicely done product. So I had the Welsh rarebit, which is this like thinly sliced corned beef that's pan fried on a piece of bread with uh, is it a béarnaise? I think they put a Guinness béarnaise or something like that with fried egg. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. And then my nephew got the pancakes with a peach compote, a little bit of whipped cream, and shortbread crumbles. Actually, the pancakes there were very good too. They had coffee though. They had coffee from La Colombe, which was like there's just a regular black brewed coffee. No, no. I know people love this La Colombe thing, but man, very rarely have I had La Colombe that I thought was really great. It's always like dirty and kind of like, just like, what is this coffee that you guys are serving under your name? And then afterwards, I bought a bunch of pastries to take home. I'm gonna use them tomorrow because what am I? I'm not eating pastries during the day. I got a crumpet and a blueberry muffin, a cookie, and a biscuit. I think I'm gonna do them on on the live stream tomorrow. Do I like canned coffee? Many years ago, when I was still living in Honolulu, UCC would make a coffee that they would release in Hawaii, and they release it all over the world, but we would get in Hawaii the UCC Kona in a can. So it's Kona coffee can with sweetener and cream and milk, whatever. I think I like that. I've tried the Boss. I've tried the Starbucks double shot. What else have I tried? I've tried the La Colombe latte in a can. I'm not a big fan. Even here's the thing. I'm not really I'm not really a coffee fan. Really. Like not really. Like I do coffee for a living. I work in coffee. People have said I'm an expert in coffee. But I don't normally drink a lot of coffee. Right? Like I don't drink it all the time. You'd think that someone like me would be drinking coffee nonstop. But really for me, coffee is a pleasurable experience. It's a hedonistic experience. It's all about enjoying myself and having coffee when I want it, not because I need to have it. Like I don't have a need when I wake up or in the morning. I'm like, I gotta have coffee because I need to get my day rolling. For me, it's not like that. It's really about pleasure. Like I want to drink coffee because I like the flavor. And so that makes me very picky about what I will drink for myself. Right. So external of the, let's say professionally, like, and these live streams are part of the professional sphere for me. And so every live stream, we're making coffee, we're tasting it, we're enjoying it. But most days, I don't actually drink outside. I don't drink coffee outside of these live streams. Or let's say, like, if I'm working at the shops, I'll drink coffee there, of course, or I'll be tasting coffee for whatever function that we're working for. But normally, outside of that, I don't normally drink coffee. So the canned coffee, I've never really felt a desire for them personally, in a personal world. Hope that makes sense. Like to be perfectly honest, the whole coffee and cigars thing is really just a tertiary connection to make it coffee related, so that I can smoke a cigar on Thursday night. That's really it. But we have coffee too, so our coffee syrup from Eclipse as the coffee milk. It's really not heavy on the coffee. It's really lightly sweet, milky, just actually just fun drinking. It's just fun to drink. I'm kind of getting over that whole like freak out about like, oh, I'm gonna like have some kind of like gastrointestinal unrest by having that with a cigar. I did look up some people online. They were talking about it on some Reddit threads where they were like, oh yeah, I drink chocolate milk with my coffee. I love it with my cigars. I love it. I was like, really? Chocolate milk? Huh. And I do remember a time when we were hanging out at cigar lounges where some of these guys would come and smoke at the lounge. This alcohol lounge, and they would order milk, and it's like they ordered milk with their coffee, with their cigar. I didn't understand that, but I guess it's not a big deal. I just never thought milk would necessarily pair with cigars. Although I have used milk and cigars together in a coffee drink. Many years ago, we made a drink for competition where we made a cappuccino semifreddo. So basically, we're taking creams and infusing the cream with tobacco. Specifically, back then, it was using the tobacco from the Paul Gamerian 15th anniversary. Basically just took the cigar, chopped it up, infused the cream with the tobacco for a couple of days, and then used that, and really gave you this tobacco taste. But interestingly enough, when you would drink this drink, you would actually get a hit, or at least I felt a hit of nicotine that hit me like right here. It was so freaky. Like I don't get nicotine from smoking cigars, but drinking this cigar-based drink hit me right here with nicotine. And I was like, wow, that's crazy. I'm curious to know, though, since the fan, the big air conditioning fan, is really just over there, maybe 10, 15 feet away, is it making out too much noise? Is that a problem for you guys? Let me know. Let me know. So I got to say, my initial reaction to this part of the cigar is that it's just okay. Good. I'm not wowed by it. I'm not particularly captivated, but I'm not actually, I even want to say I'm not terribly interested in it. It's fine. It's a fine cigar, nicely made, burning well, but just not, from my palate, not terribly interesting so far. Tony says Nick Perdomo said the reason they drink coffee with cream while smoking cigars is because a bunch of guys sitting around drinking milk and smoking would look fool. I hear you. I hear you. I mean, I did learn more about drinking coffee because of cigars. Because when we were hanging out with the guys down at Rolling Road Tobacco Warehouse back in the '90s, and Jim, the owner, would give us. He served coffee at his shop, and he would occasionally, after you bought so many cigars, and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna buy you a coffee." And so he would buy us a coffee, and I would get a coffee, 16-ounce coffee with 6 creams and 6 sugars and like 4 creams. And I learned to enjoy that quite a lot. But of course, that was like a sweet, milky coffee drink. Essentially, that was a frappuccino without the actual frozen part, right? Well, the wind has died. Sun's going down. So, did any of you guys see the Deadpool Wolverine movie? I'm interested to know. I really haven't seen any shows. I did start watching the first episode. I saw the first episode of Star Trek Prodigy, finally, but I haven't had the time to see any more episodes. so far, good. And just if you like Prodigy, you'll like that. I did see the new trailer for it was so San Diego Comic Con was last week, and they dropped a whole bunch of trailers like for Star Trek: Strange New Worlds. Like, oh, that looks pretty solid. Devin says, "Pull the fan closer, get comfortable." Well, the thing is that it's not it's not a fan that I can actually pull. It's actually when I say fan, I mean the actual air conditioning unit, right? The heat exchange unit that's outside, which I can't pull any closer. Devin says, "I always love cafe con leche with cigars." Oh, yeah, that sounds. I think for me, it's cafe con leche is not like if you drink coffee with milk, coffee with cream, cafe con leche, latte. That doesn't sound weird to me. But for some reason, like the idea of milk, and I know that this coffee syrup is essentially now cafe con leche, but just because it's cold and it's like a milk drink, I don't know. I just thought about it differently for some reason. Like, I think more of it like a milkshake rather than a coffee drink with cream. What I have to say, this thing about cafe con leche in the morning, I kind of fantasize about that. Like I sometimes think that I wish I was in a world where that was a possibility for me. Like I could go out and have the time in the morning, and I probably do have the time. I just don't take the time. But to go make a coffee, sit outside, and have a cigar for like an hour or so. I just never take the time. I love that idea. I love the idea of doing that. I so would like to do that. Of course, many years I would be working, so we would open the shop at 7. So I was never really in a position to do that. Now I could. I just got rid of that. I guess I could have done that at the shop, but the thing is that as much as I may enjoy cigars, I do try to keep that professionally separate. Like I understand that a lot of guests may not enjoy that, right? Like, why are you smoking cigars? Plus, who has the time to sit outside and smoke a cigar when you're running your own place? We would do that though late at night after closing. Set the tables outside on the street, have some drinks, smoke some cigars, just kind of hang out. Those were nice times. Those were nice times. But in the morning, that was always a little bit more difficult. But I guess in Florida, you must have a lot of places where you can do that. Get your cafe con leche that would be welcoming to cigar smoking. When you do that, is there a place that you go to that it's a favorite shop or coffee place? What else been going on in the world? No. I've been working on the countertop for the new shop. It's just been so hot. Like the last couple of days, brutally hot. And we were out there yesterday afternoon. Like I waited till it's 6 o'clock before we went out there, but it was still so brutally hot. And then there's so much sawdust being generated, like just from the sanding and all the shaping, and just like I'm coated in sawdust. It's crazy. It's crazy. If I was smoking cigars, I'd light myself on fire. But the shaping's been coming along, getting the feel for it, starting to see the shape take, come into view. I've been using a Festool 150 millimeter 6-inch random orbital sander. I read something a while back that said that the Festool sander brings joy to sanding. And you're used to these like DeWalt sanders or Ryobi sanders, and they're just and your hand feels numb after a while. Man, or maybe half an hour of sanding with the Festool. super nice. Like it is a joy to use. Like it is like wow, it's awesome. It's awesome. I highly recommend it. Like go buy yourself a vest tool. It's like $600-700, but it is one of those tools that just you're just done. You'll be done for the rest of your life. You never have to buy anything again. Devin says it's usually my patio, but Corona Cigar is not too far from me. Oh, okay, okay. Are you closer to Corona that is in that kind of suburban looking shopping center? So when you walk into it, the mass quantity of cigars is to your right, and there's big opulent bars to your left, and there's a bunch of seating outside with umbrellas. Is that the one you go to, or you go to the other one? I haven't been to the other one. I've only been to that one. I think that's the one in Kissimmee. Is that right? Oh, I don't know. I don't know where I did. I went there one time, sitting outside having a cigar. Ended up hanging out with these guys, and they were talking. And after a while, they're like, "Oh yeah, yeah, man, I played for the Panthers or whatever football team, the Jaguars." Evidently a famous guy, but you know what? I'm a Ravens fan, and I only know Ravens. Like I'm not an NFL fan. I'm a Ravens fan, right? So I barely know the Ravens players. So for me to know someone from another team, I have no idea. This Jacksonville Jaguar dude, I'm like, oh, cool, man. It's awesome. I'm glad you're nice to meet you. It was very pleasant. And I guess that's to my benefit too, is that since I don't know who he is, I'm totally neutral about it, right? So it's not like, oh my God, dude, how are you? I'm not fawning over the dude. So we just kind of have a conversation on cigars and hang out and had a nice time. But Corona, they had quite a cigar selection. I was like, wow, this is very nice. Very, very nice. And everyone was very friendly. I'd like to go visit next time I get down to Florida, whenever that may be. I'd like to go check out the Scanwich Brothers at Cigar Hustlers. I don't know if you've been there. What do you think of that place? I'd be interested to know. But met the brothers when we were at the Weasel Fest a couple of years ago. Got along with them fairly well, so I was like, man, next time I'll go down there, I'll go check them out, hang out a little bit. It's a little bit, since the airflow is basically stagnated. I get a little bit of chokiness from the smoke because it's just kind of lingering. Devin said, I go to either. Depends on where we are golfing, either by downtown or the one by you said by day. Okay, okay. That's cool. I know that they closed the Sosa family cigar place at the down Disney Springs or downtown Disney, whatever they call the place now. I was kind of disappointed to hear they closed that because that was really a nice little spot in the middle of Disney. Like to be honest with you, I went this one. I guess it was that last time in 2019. My mom wanted to have a family trip to Florida. She was like, "Are you gonna come?" And I was like, "No." So you have to come. All right. So I went down there, and we did our family thing. Really wonderful time at Disney. And we stayed at Disney, and I went to the Disney Springs, what do they call it? And ended up going to Sosa Family Cigars. And what I loved about that was that they had those bands, right? Those RFID bands, and you just scan for everything. You want to check in your room, scan. You want to buy something, scan. Get some cigars, scan. Perfect, perfect. And and this thing about Disney, everyone's so nice. But everyone that I know that goes to Florida, they're always like, you need to go to Tampa. You need to go to Ybor City, go check out the Ybor City scene. So I was like, all right, you need to go to the cigar shops and check out that. All right, well, I'll go down there, check it out. So I went down there. And I remember I'm there. And there's this one cigar shop, everyone was like, you need to go there. It's like super famous. And I remember I went there and I was like, this place looks like a pit. It's got like plastic furniture. It's a pit. I don't even want to stay here. I'm going to walk over to the other place, Nika Habano, and just buy cigars there. And then I also went to, of course, Tampa Sweethearts, the brother of Arturo Fuente, bought some cigars there. Very nice job. And then I went to the other Arturo Fuente cigar shop, the one that has the Arturo Fuente marquee. It's not Arturo Fuente shop, but it is, I guess, heavily sponsored by them. Further down, closer to the Columbia Inn. I also went to get a Columbia Inn. That was pretty good. But I remember after that, I went to a couple of hung out a little bit, went around a little bit, had some of the, what is smoked fish? down in Clearwater. Nice time, nice time. We'll check it out. But I was at the last night that I was there. I was like, I'm just gonna go back to Disney Springs and hang out at Sosa because it was just so much more. Everyone's so much nicer. Just like everyone's so nice at Disney. I'm just gonna go hang out there because I don't want to I don't want to deal with the vagaries of like whoever of the regular public. Let me go to a place where everybody's expected to act a certain way. And I had a nice time there. Sad to see that they're gone. Sadly, when I went there the last night, my bracelet no longer was valid, so I wasn't able to charge to it. That's fine. I mean, it goes to the same credit card anyway. But sun's going down now. It's only what? It's only not even 9 o'clock. We're almost to darkness. What is it? Every day until December 21st, every day is 6 minutes less daylight than the day before. This is always the downslope. This is the part this is the part of the year I don't like. So how are we doing here? Construction, consistency, draw, smoke production. Oh, very good. Oh, great. Body, very mild to medium body. And in that case, I would say that, so actually, we were the first. In that case, I could say that we are body-wise, low, medium, low. Very good. Flavor, though. The flavor is just not terribly exciting. Not terribly exciting. I would say good, 7. So that gives us 15 plus 7, 22 points total right now. I don't have my paper, so I'm going to talk about the running score. 22 points. Hopefully that means I can remember as we go. Like if this had more depth, complexity, this could be a great cigar. Like awesome. But it's just kind of like nondescript, kind of okay, good. Rusty's with us. What's going on, Rusty? Hello, I'm finally home from getting Amy at the airport, the cesspool of an airport. Oh, called JFX. Gosh, man, so sorry to hear that. Maybe we should have stayed at the TWA hotel for a night. Oof. Well, at least you got back. That's good. That's good. I wonder how long does it take you to? How long would it take you to go to JFK without traffic? Like if you were to go there, like I don't know, 4 in the morning. How long does it take? At least an hour, I imagine, right? Like when I'm planning trips, I don't even want to go to JFK. Like I won't even go there. Like I'm glad United doesn't really fly there. They fly to Newark, and Newark's pretty good. But JFK would be like nightmarish to go to. Tony's saying Al doesn't have paper and pen. He probably does somewhere, but I have no idea where everything is. No idea where everything is. I'm looking around trying to find everything they need, like plates, stuff like that. Hey, where's all this stuff? And of course, I was sleeping in my niece's bedroom while she's away. And she's like a YouTuber, so she's got it set up like a YouTube Wonderland. So it's all like LEDs lighting and like everything's like purple. It's like, how do I turn? And I'm trying to. The first night I was like, how do I turn off the LED? Because I'm really sensitive to lighting while sleeping, right? Like I'm really, like light keeps me awake. So I really want to be black, like dark. So how do I use this controller and turn off the lighting without actually, turning on? You know how they'll do patterns and flashes and like disco lighting. I'm like, how do I avoid doing that? At the end of the day, I just couldn't figure it out. Actually, I don't know if I couldn't figure out the remote or the remote just were like batteries are dead. But I was like, I just need to unplug it. So I just got around it, found it, unplugged it from the wall, and just been darkness, shrouded in darkness. Like if you wanted a cigar that would be pleasant smoking, that you wouldn't like, and let's say you're in a situation where you don't want to pay attention to a cigar, you don't want to like think about it, you just want something to occupy yourself. This could be the great cigar for that. Like it's very mild, not terrible, rather nondescript, but very nicely done. Like it is construction wise, it is a nice cigar. I just don't have anything else to say about it. Like I'm just not like, oh, it's got this, it's got that. A little bit of brightness every once in a while. General tobacco flavor, but bright tobacco. Maybe tropical tobacco. Maybe pineapple-ish. Maybe. Get a little more breeze finally. That's good. That helps. So we're definitely going through the second third now. I mean, it's a pleasant cigar. Like it's not a disagreeable cigar. Like it's not some of those cigars I'm just like, oh my God, do I have to smoke this more? Like I just want to put it down. I don't want to put it down. I just want to be seduced. You know, make me feel sexy. Now that I puffed on it a few more times in a row, I have increased the heat, increased a little bit of the tropicality, that brightness, which may or not be a good thing. I'm also getting close to the wrapper, over to the band. So soon I should pull that off. So what's been happening though? Anything interesting? Please come by. Northern District is live. That's something that's happened this weekend. Artscape is this weekend, so my friend was like, "Hey man, I'm going to go see Shaka Khan on Friday or Saturday, one of those two." I was like, "Shaka Khan's playing?" I was like, "Where?" And he was like, "No, Artscape." I was like, "Oh yeah, Artscape. I totally forgot about that." Last summer they brought Artscape to September, which that's not a good thing. Now, normally Artscape was the third week of July. I don't know why they moved it last year. That was kind of silly. They realized that was a mistake, and now they moved it closer to where it used to be. So now it's first weekend of August, which kind of for me is like I do feel a little nostalgic. Maybe I was thinking maybe I should go down there and check it out. But man, it is brutal. And we did Artscape as a company for 11 years. Had a great time with it. But one of the things that I think about is like, one, Artscape is fun if you have a place to hide out. And so that was one of the nice things that I would go get lunch for everybody and get to see a little bit of the show. But we always had a place to hide out, like at our booth. Like we could hide out there and like be somewhat safe from the masses. Of course, there was never any kind of issue there. It was always very safe event, but it was nice to have a place. Like, I remember thinking about that when we had the shop at Hamden, right? Weekends in Hamden are very busy. A lot of people from all over the area, region, tourists come into town, and they come in the neighborhood and they're shopping, which is great. You know, business is good. But I remember thinking that, man, if I had to come here as a shopper, what I like about having a shop on the avenue is that I've got a shop on the avenue that I can like hide out in the air conditioning in the summer and be like, you know, safe. You don't get that when you don't have a shop somewhere. It's like, ah, man. All right, time to get this band off. It's getting close. Okay. I mean, see, look at this. It's got nice wrapper. It's it's burning well. I mean, we haven't had any uneven burns. Nice kind of ash looking, right? Everything about it is really good. Like excellent. Or at least very good. It's just it does not have that. And I want that. I have one more Davidoff Millennium from when we did the 200th episode up in New Jersey. And I've been thinking about smoking it. Like, I almost never buy, well, I never buy Millennium Davidoffs. They're just more expensive than I'd like to spend in for a cigar. I bought a few. Whoever could join us that day, like, we gave it to them to smoke with us. Man, it's so nice. It is such a nice cigar. Like, smoking this and thinking about that, I'm like, man, I need to get one of those. I need to get one of those. Devin says, you have to try some Warped cigars. Oh, Warped are really good, man. Really, really good. Those guys, you know, what's the name of the owner of Warped? Sometimes names escape me, but every time I've been to the trade show, the PCA trade show, Kyle Gillis, right? Kyle and I always talk coffee because Kyle's really big into coffee. So we chat coffee. And so, hey, him and I should, we've always kind of talked about maybe doing like a collaboration at some point. Maybe we should do that in the coming year. Yes, Kyle Gillis. You got it. You got it. You're right. You're totally right. But he's based down in your area. So do you get to hang out at his? Like, I guess he just has an office. Is that right there? He doesn't have any cigar shops. Okay. I don't know I feel like this last two puffs, there may be some change happening. A little bit, there's been a bump in the way that the cigar's tasting, like a little more. Right? Oh, he's down in Miami. Okay, down in Miami. Yeah, Miami's pretty far away. It's like 4 or 5 hour drive. Is that right? I always thought about driving down to Miami, and I haven't been to Miami in many years now. Like when I first started flying to Central America for coffee, United didn't fly there. It was only Continental and American that flew to Central America, and I ended up flying American, so I have an American mileage account as well. And so the nice thing about American that I really enjoyed was that I think I chose American because with Continental you would have to fly to Houston from Baltimore, and you know you do this 3 hour hop to Houston and then you go down to wherever you're going to go. Whereas from Baltimore to Miami on American is a 2 hour hop, I think. So you save an hour. And Miami's kind of an interesting town. Not to say that Houston is not an interesting town, but certainly Miami is. And for whatever reason, when either on the outbound or the return, when I flew American down to Central America or to Colombia back then, most of the time they would actually schedule it in a way that I had a layover, an overnight stay in Miami. And I was like, I thought that was awesome. Because I would like, I'd book it so I'd have that with that layover. Can I go out, party it up for like a night or two or whatever it was? And like one day I was like, I scheduled. So when you schedule the airline, you can do 24 hours without a penalty or without a fee change, right? So if you have a layover city, you can stay there for 24 hours without it affecting your fare. So I remember one time I was like, I need to go to Key West. So I scheduled it on a return from like Bogota, I think it was. I scheduled a full 24 hours to turn around. And I was like, reserved a hotel in Miami. And I was like, I need to go to Key West. We flew in the morning, jumped a rental car, drove all the way down to Key West, hung out in Key West, ate some conch, did whatever Key West people do down there. I didn't have any key lime pie. Hauled it all the way back to Miami, and then the next morning flew home. 3 to 4 hours, but traffic was, oh, really? Traffic's bad now. That's terrible. Yeah, it was during those trips that I would go to places like Little Havana. I never did make it to the prime cigar places like Padron or El Titan de Bronce. Didn't get to any of those places. I did end up one day going to a place called Cuban Crafters on Cayo Richo. Kind of like honky tonk looking kind of place. All these Miami guys, and they got espresso. They're serving espresso, and they got all their cigars, and they're like, have an espresso and smoke your cigar with us. And I was like, okay, bueno, smoking, drinking. But the thing for me, like Cuban guys, I have a hard time understanding, right? Because Cuban Spanish is very different than the Mexican Spanish that I learn, or the Central American Spanish that I'll hear quite often, and especially when I'm traveling. There's something about Cuban, and my understanding is that Puerto Ricans also do this, a really kind of slurriness to their Espanol, and it's just like, it's a little bit hard, and I don't have enough exposure to it, so it's harder for me to understand. I'm like, huh? It's just like when you go to Nicaragua, right? Nicaragua, they drop the S, right? They don't say, like you say, ¿Cómo estás? You say that to someone, maybe ¿Cómo está? And you're like, what? So for like, whenever I go to Nicaragua, it's like the first day that I'm there, I'm just kind of, huh? What? ¿Cómo? They're just like, ¿Qué pasó? What's wrong with you, man? Sorry, I don't understand. Okay, so there is a little bit of a change, a little bit of a bump, maybe a little bit of body build, a little bit of like depth has come into play. It's a little more interesting now than it had been, which is good. It's showing some level of dynamism. But it is still pretty hot and humid. How you doing out there, George? I know you're sitting outside. And Devin, is the humidity where you are, like even though it did rain, is it humidity still pretty high there? I know I've been to Florida in the summertime, especially to the Orlando area, to like Disney. Man, woo. The last time we were there during this kind of time of year was, I think, 2010. It's my cousin's birthday. They were like, hey, man, come and join us in Disney. And I was like, oh, man, I don't want to go to Disney. Hate Disney. Disney's stupid. Disney's, I'm not going to do that. They're like, come on, man, just come join us, man. We're going to have, they arranged a dinner with, because the kids were really young back then. Like, we arranged a dinner, a lunch with the princess. We got a princess lunch at the castle. I was like, all right, fine. And I remember I'm getting on the plane, flying down to Miami, and I'm all salty. I'm like, Florida. Florida sucks. Florida sucks. It's stupid. This is stupid. I want to be here. I'll go home, stay home. Get my rental car. Driving down the road. This is stupid. This is stupid. This is stupid. I hate being here. And I'm driving. And then we get to kind of Magic Kingdom, the entrance, right? They see this big sign, Magic Kingdom. I was like, this is stupid. This is gay. I don't like this. Magic Kingdom. Oh my God, Magic Kingdom. This is awesome. I don't know. From that point, I was like, I'm so excited to be here. Park the car. And you go to this terminal and you're like, I'm going to get the ferry and I'm going to go across the lake to the Magic Kingdom, or should I take the monorail? Like, so silly. So silly. Yeah, we went to the Princess Lunch. I got to have my picture with Belle. I was like, oh, this is awesome. Belle, of all of the princesses, is my favorite princess. She's my favorite. I like provincial girls, small town, dreaming of big, big success, intellectually smart. I like that. Book smart. I like that. I like girls that are like thinking. They want to see more. Oh, it's always humid and the swamp is real. Yeah, yeah, I've been to Disney a couple times in the summertime. That's September, super, super humid. And then one time, I think 1996, we went there with a whole bunch of friends, like in the middle, like the end of July, like this time of year. Oh man, brutal and rainy, brutal. Like, oh my gosh, man. But when you're with your friends, you have a great time. I like Disney. I like Disney overall. I just don't like the price. So expensive. But my cousin in California is the GM of one of the Hilton properties down in Anaheim. So a few years ago that I was there, we were hanging out, and he's like, hey, man, do you want to go to Disney? I said, what? I get free passes to go to Disney on certain days. And today is one of those days. I can walk you in. Like, what? Walk me in? So you walk me in, get to the park. He's like, I'll call you in a few hours when I'm ready to go. I said, all right, cool. And I just went there, rode Space Mountain. They hadn't opened the Star Wars part of it yet. I really would like to have seen that. But I was just like, all right, Space Mountain, again and again and again. Good times, good times. Like, that's the one that's the kind of ride that I enjoy, Space Mountain. Like that time I was telling you when we were there in September for the princess dinner, the princess lunch. That was the week of Labor Day. So Labor Day, and then the week, and then like we were there like that Tuesday, Wednesday of Labor Day, and the parks were empty. I don't know if that's still the way it is today. I've heard it's changed, but I asked the guys there, I was like, why is it so empty? And I mean, like, empty. Like, we would ride Space Mountain, walk off the train, walk around, out the building, walk back around, go through the tunnels, and go directly to the platform. We didn't stop. There was no waiting. You just walked around and went back to the platform, jumped on the train, and went again. And I was like, this is the greatest time to go to Disney. I will never go here again, not without going this time. I don't know if that's still true, but I always talk about if I go again, I want to go there. Of course, we didn't do that the last time because, the kids are with us. And so the kids, they can, when you have children, they can only get off so many times a year. And I'm the kind of guy that I was like, if I was a father, man, I'd be like, we're going to miss a few days of school. Be fine. How much could they possibly miss the first 3 days of school? I wasn't a very good student. I must say one thing about this. It is burning. Like it's got a slow burn to it. And I don't know if that's because I'm talking a lot, but it's lasting us quite a while. And it's a fairly short robusto. I am very surprised. Getting a little bit of a burn issue here. You kind of see it right there. Right? I feel like I want to touch it up, but I don't know if I need to. One of the things about being outside in humid weather, hot weather, and I was just reading about this the other day, that about how potentially dangerous it could be. Because there's something called the dew point, and the dew point, I don't know exactly what it means, but it's the dew point, kind of the saturation of the air. The higher the dew point, and the higher the humidity in the air, the more difficult it is for the human body to sweat. And to sweat is basically the expectoration of internal body heat. So you get heat stroke when you can't really dissipate the heat that's building up inside your body. And they say that when the humidity gets really high and the temperatures get really high, that wicking effect of the heat from your body just doesn't work. That's why you have to be careful. I'm saying that's why older people are more susceptible to heat stroke than younger people, because their metabolism isn't as efficient. So you gotta always be careful about that, especially when you're sitting outside. We're smoking cigars, we're drinking in the heat. We're just like, yeah, man. Might be a little drunk, might be a little bit high because of the nicotine. Somebody finds you the next day laid out on the outside your deck. George says, real field temperature is currently 94. It's uncomfortable, but I'll take this over the cold. Yeah, yeah. It's not terrible. I mean, it's not terrible. Right now, there's a little bit of coolness coming with the breeze, so it's not terrible. I prefer the last few weeks when we're down in the 80s, maybe into the 70s, like that. I wish we could find. I wish this is an area that held that temperature longer throughout the year. George says his Iroa is going well. Can't believe I've got to go back to work. Oh, 2 weeks already? I'm so sorry to hear that. What have you been doing with yourself this whole time? Like, what do you do? What does an administrator of a school do during the summer? Like, do you not go in at all? Just kind of at home, I'm done, just hanging out. And Rusty, you're leaving like this week, aren't you? To go to Hawaii to see your mom? It's not cheap to fly to Hawaii. I was looking at some fares for like October. I was like, whoa, kind of pricey. The best thing about, at least for my nephew, the best thing is about me having to do this. He said he gets 2 hours to do whatever he wants to do, which looks like it means that he's reading manga. He reads manga online. He has these services for manga. And if you're not familiar, manga is the Japanese style comic books. He's an aficionado of that stuff. And so he has been taking full advantage today that I've been busy with all kinds of stuff. He's like, I'm just reading. You sure not gaming? No, I'm just reading. Reading while listening. He's a real big into gaming, so he's like got his headphones on. He's listening to like anime show tunes. He's so into it. He's so into it. Oh my gosh, man. Young Ma, how are you, man? Good to see you. How have you been, man? How's the married life? I presume you've been doing a lot of fishing this summer. How's it going with all that? How's it going? How's it going? Good to see you. And are you smoking? If you're smoking, let us know what you're smoking. We're having the El Regalo Cubano Robusto. It has gotten better. It's a little more interesting now than it has been for the first third and the first half of the second third. So another thing about having children around, it's interesting for me, is that one thing that I find is that I can focus everything that I want at any time, at any moment to do whatever I want to do. When you have children, until you can't do that. Like you have to manage it all. Like I've been working on this video. I started with the video is going to plan to release this Saturday, which will not happen anymore. I started working on about last week, the weekend before this past one, because I was able to get ahead by like 2 weeks, and I was like, okay, good, I got 2 weeks ahead. I can work on this one that's a little more complex, and have it done in time to release on third. Well, that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Like I did, I got a lot of it. I got a bit of it done. And then for this whole week, it's like toasted. I'll work on it a little bit here, a little bit there, and then got other stuff to do. Got to prepare food. Got to entertain. Got to take him somewhere. Got to go do more errands. Got to make sure he has his music lessons. And since I'm staying here and my editing suite is at my place, it's like, okay, we'll go there. We'll go to the house for like an hour. Then come back. So I gotta say it has improved. And I'm gonna say now we're finished with the second third. So last time in the first third, I said the body mild plus, mild to medium. Was very good. The body was actually qualitatively very good. So that was 8. So we're going to add that 8 for the body of the second, same score, to the 22 points that we have already. So 22 plus the 8, 30 points. I do think that we had some improvement in flavor. So while we were at 7 for flavor in the first third, it's gone up. I'm going to say 7.5. So we're now at 37.5 points up to the second third. George says, dew point measures the amount of moisture in the air. Ah, okay. Yeah, I guess when it reaches a certain point, I guess atmospherically, it doesn't allow you to release your moisture. I guess that's what it is. Oh, and Steven's with us. What's going on, Steven, man? How are you doing? How are things in Arizona? We've got heat here in Baltimore, probably like you have in Arizona, although you're probably a good 10 degrees hotter than us. George said earlier that we're reaching 94 degrees here in Baltimore. I'm going to guess you're probably closer to 110. Ah, that's what's happening. Bro is still on the airplane. Gotcha. I was wondering why Brian wasn't with us. And I was also wondering, like, when is he coming back? Like, he's been away for like 2 weeks, I think. Hopefully his trip to New Mexico was fruitful. This is why he should pay for streaming on the plane. So you come join us. Actually, that's something I don't do. One thing that I see a lot of, like, in airline forums, people that travel a bit, they're over there, they talk about, like, the different packages for Wi-Fi. And I'm like, man, I don't want no Wi-Fi at all. Like I don't want any Wi-Fi. Like United now has this thing where you can receive and send SMS text messages, and I'm like, man, I don't want that. I don't want any of that. Just I like the fact that I can be on a plane for X amount of hours and be totally cut off from the world. Yes, the world may be blowing up somewhere, but I don't have to know about that. I don't need to know about that. I enjoy that. I enjoy that so much. Like now, and they did. Would you like to buy Wi-Fi? No, 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 no. Woo, cooling trend today down to 107. Excellent, excellent. And David says, can't smoke a cigar or play it, unfortunately. You know, I didn't get into cigars until about 1992, 93, 90, maybe 94. And I remember when I started really flying a lot was like 1988, when there was still smoking on planes. And I know people smoke cigarettes. I don't remember if people smoke cigars. I don't know if that was ever allowed. I wonder. If anybody knows, I'd be interested to know. I remember I was traveling one year with a friend of mine with a cigarette smoker. We actually flew to Hawaii. This is the trip that actually convinced me to move to Hawaii. And we're flying back, and he was like, I need to smoke, man. I don't want to go back. Let's sit in the smoking section. I was like, all right, dude. We're friends. You know, it's a good friend of mine. But I'm going to, man, that was misery. Because I'm not a cigarette smoker. I'm like, oh, God, this is the worst. But, you know, when you think about it, like commercial aircraft will replace all the air in the cabin every like 2 or 3 minutes. So, I mean, the replacement of the air is very good. So it never really gets, like back then, if you were like on the edge, right? If the cutoff was road, let's say 30, if you were in road 29, yeah, you'd get some smoke. But if you're road 28, you really didn't. So it's fairly good. But I always thought that if I ever became president of the United States, I'm gonna smoke a cigar in the damn Air Force One. I don't care who it says. You're not supposed to, sir. Sue me. Sue me. Call the police. George says, back in the day, you could light them on plane. But could we light cigars? That's the one thing I am curious about. And Steven says, McDonald's pulled the plug on smoking around 19... Wow, really? 1994. That makes sense that people would smoke it. Like when I think about it, like I can't imagine like thinking, even in the early days of my cigaring, that I would be like, I want to smoke a cigar with my Big Mac. But I imagine that, you know, certain generations of people would be like, go there for breakfast, have their coffee, and want to smoke their cigarettes. I totally can see that. And I remember when I was younger, I was really into the club scene. Like we went to clubs all the time, nightclubs. We wouldn't go out till like 10, 11 at night, 12 o'clock at night. We'd be out till like 5, 6 in the morning. Had a great time, fabulous time. But one of the things that I don't miss, that I never liked it back then, was that you go out all night long partying, and you come back and you just reek of cigarettes. Like you just reeked of it. In the 80s, you just reeked of it. I really hated that. So I must say that I do enjoy going out to bars, whatever, and not have to reek of smoke. That is a pleasant thing. Like I don't even enjoy like if I smoke cigars. Like I don't want to reek of cigars after. Like sometimes you go to some cigar shops and you just like it's so thick and lingering that you just like the place we used to hang out. Like I would walk in there. Like sometimes like on the street that this cigar shop was located, they would have the Thursday afternoon farmers market. Thursday morning farmers market. So I would buy stuff from the vendors there, the farms there, and so I would sometimes stop in for a few moments to drop. Like if I bought a bunch of like perishable stuff, I'd come in, leave it in the refrigerator in the summertime, and then walk out and buy more, and then leave and come back and pick it all up and leave. And in just that like 2, 3, 4 minutes of walking into the shop, man, I would read like I could smell the mics. Gosh, it's the worst. I gotta say, so it's definitely an improvement. Let's see how it pairs with our coffee milk, which I'm happy to say is still very cold in this lovely corksicle mug. My brother and sister-in-law are really into corksicle. They love corksicle. And they're actually pretty darn good. I have most of my thermal mugs because of them, because they're like, hey, we want to give you a gift. Here's a thermal mug. Oh, thanks. What do I need this for? I don't know what I need that for. But I have gotten into enjoy them. Like they gave me one year a corksicle Darth Vader mug, which is kind of awesome. Steven says, like, the thick smoke in the casinos always got me. Oh, I don't know how it is in Arizona casinos, but the only casinos I've really ever smoked in were the ones in Las Vegas. Typically, like in the early 2000s, we would go a lot to Main Street, and then later we would end up going to places like Rio or the Wynn, and most recently we'd be at the Wynn or Venetian or Bellagio. And actually, I never really smelled like cigars there at the or Paris. They have, but these are like premier casinos that have an incredible air system. So I guess I mean, like you'd smoke it, it would just rise to the heavens and never to be seen again. It was really, really impressive. Like it's really impressive in Vegas. Devin says the casino smoke is the worst. I get you. I hear it. Like I remember one time I was in Illinois many, many years ago, and I went to light up at the tables, and they were like, "I'm sorry, but there's no cigar smoking here." And I was like, "What? No cigar smoking? I'm out of here, man." Like, get it. One of the nice ones I went to, they had in Seattle. Like Seattle is really restrictive, like as far as cigar smoke or smoking go, like just super restrictive. Like you can't smoke anywhere. Like Rain City Cigar, you can't smoke inside. At Union Cigar, you can't smoke inside. So my friends and I, we went a couple times when I was out there. Just toss it out. We would go to about 30 minutes drive. It's the Homish. There's an India casino out there that has this really nice cigar lounge. Actually, that was really nice. We would go there a couple times. Last time I was in Seattle, though, I went and bought some cigars at Union, and I ended up staying at an Airbnb kind of across the street from Union Cigar on Lake Union. And I figured out how to smoke in this Airbnb. I opened up the windows in a certain way, that, and like it was one of those buildings that like the entry door is open air, and then there's a balcony. So I kind of positioned everything so that it would just blow out. So I set limit rating. So I just sat inside, just right outside there inside the doorway. I was like, "You can suck it." Like if I can get away with it, I'm gonna try smoking it. Rental cars, love to smoke them. I love to if I have a rental car, I got a long drive. I love to smoke in a rental car. Love it, love it. Like when I went down, like I said, I went down to Key West, back and forth, smoking the cigar. But what I tend to do is I keep the windows open, and I won't smoke the last day of my trip because that way it has time for it to air out. Steven says, I would hold my breath to run through the casino to the seafood buffet. That's awesome. You know, have you ever go to California, right? If you go to LA, there's a town close to Long Beach called San Pedro. So basically, San Pedro is the town on the other side of the river that of the LA. So the LA River runs through it all, right? There's Long Beach, that's just south of the LA River, and there's San Pedro, which is just north of the LA River. And when you got down there to that big bridge, the one that Tony Scott jumped off on. In San Pedro, there's a place called San Pedro Fish Market. My friends took me there quite a long time ago. Really interesting place. Like you go there to the fish market and you say, I mean, they have all this fresh seafood, raw seafood. You choose. I want this, I want that, I want this, I want that. And I want you to cook it for me. And some they'll fry, some they'll steam, and then they cook it, they like boil it or steam it. And then they put it on a big plancha and with a ton of like clarified butter. And then they like, griddle it. And then they take it and they slop it onto this big like tray. And you just go to town on it. It's kind of like the Louisiana seafood boil, but with a heavy butter fried element, right? Like a pan fried butter element. Man, it's so nice, so nice. If you're ever in San Pedro, I highly recommend it. San Pedro Fish Market. Or should I say San Pedro Fish Market. Dungeness crab, you want that too? They got that. Every time I go to LA, I think I would like to go there again, but never enough time. Never enough time. A little bit of that last puff, a little bit dirty. I also think we're losing the burn on the edge. It started to burn to the center. So I'm going to hit it with a little light around the edge. That's better. So what do you guys got going on this weekend? Anything interesting? My friends are playing music at a couple of venues. So I told one of my friends, like, hey, you want to go check them out? She's like, yeah, let me see what I can do. I was like, all right, let me know what you're going to do. Let me know when you can go. We'll go out and do it. Then another friend of mine who likes to go to the Renaissance Festival, he messaged me. He's like, dude, the Ren Fest is selling out like super fast. And I was like, well, again? Like Maryland Renaissance Festival down in Crownsville. Really fun time. Starts in August, like mid-August, runs to the end of October on the weekends. I always have a nice time. For many years, you just went there and bought tickets. Super easy to get into, no real big issues. But last year, when they finally moved to online-only sales, man, I was totally blocked out. Couldn't get any seats. Couldn't get any passes at all. So today he messaged me and said, hey, man, we're going the 19th of October. I was like, here's the link. It's all messed up. I was like, what? He's like, I've been trying to get onto the link for like 3 hours. Like, what? And he's like, I found this other link that goes directly to it. Super easy. Buy your tickets now. So I went online, bought some tickets. So I got tickets to the Ren Fest this year, finally. You get cheaper seats, you get cheaper entry if you go August into early September. But man, it's like this. I don't really, when I envision the world of Arthur and medievalism, I don't envision myself sweating my balls off, right? I envision a little bit chilly, cool, and wearing like, my robes and some fur, living the Game of Thrones kind of dream, right? So I like to go later this October. So October, I think, should be fairly chill. Devin says Renaissance reminds me of rotisserie chicken served with the jam. Medieval. I like that. I like that. Although, do they have chicken at the? They get turkey legs. You know, turkey legs. That's the thing about the Renaissance Festival. Like you go there, you're like, ooh, turkey leg. That sounds awesome. And then you get the turkey leg, and it for the first couple bites, it's pretty good. But that's about it. And then you've got this massive leg with these massive tendons that are just a pain in the butt to get around, and then the meats. And then what they do is they cure the meats, right? Because it's always like, it always looks like it's been, with curing salt. And so it looks pink and I'm like, or like reddish. I'm like, what is this? Why is it like this? Can't we just roast turkey leg and like make it nice? Try never get that in. I get steak on a stick, French fries, maybe some fried dough, drink a bit of mead. At the mead house, they allow you to smoke. So sometimes I'll sit there with some mead, cigar, enjoy myself. They say the Pennsylvania Renaissance Festival, which is up in Carlisle, PA, is easier to get to. But and even though Carlisle is almost the same drive from where I live to Crownsville, I just didn't go last year. I was thinking maybe I'll try to go this year. That could be fun. Then another event we're going to go to. My nephew likes to. I took my nephew last September to this event called VidCon, and VidCon is like a YouTube con. So the big one that happens for VidCon is in Anaheim, and that's a madhouse. Like tens of thousands of people go to that one. They started the Baltimore version of VidCon last September, very first year. They had all these creators come. My nephew really wanted to meet some of them. He's fans of a couple of them. So I brought them in. We had a real nice time. Really nice time. It's a Baltimore Convention Center, so a fairly good sized venue, but and several thousand people were there attending. But it's not as crazy as Anaheim. Unfortunately, they just announced a couple weeks ago that they're canceling the VidCon. We were talking about that yesterday, and I was like, let's look it up what the dates are so we can plan on going. And it's like, oh, VidCon has been canceled. Oh man, that's disappointing. I mean, even myself, I had a really fun time at it, even though I didn't know any of those creators. It's kind of fun, very wholesome kind of place. I had to go to Philadelphia last weekend for a family event. So they had every summer in July they have this thing called Shore Leave, which is a sci-fi con, and they moved it this. They normally had it in Hunt Valley at the Delta Hotel, but that closed last October. So they moved it to Lancaster, PA, which is terribly inconvenient now for me. But I probably would have gone for at least a day. But but since I had to be in Philly, I just couldn't go. But I kind of missed it. I was like, oh, I really wanted to go check it out. Steven says that my best friend owns the closest liquor store to the festival, so he overstocks his store and his two-car garage at home in preparation for the festival employees, some heavy drinkers. That's a well, a lot of the people that work at Renaissance festivals are actors, and they'll act and one thing I learned about actors is that, especially when they're young, they are freakadeeks. Like my friends who are actors, like they would tell me their stories about their parties, and it's like, oh my God, man, it's like hedonism orgies going on. I was like, I should have been an actor. Holy crap, I would have had like STDs left and right. Not to say they're having STDs, but but to underscore the point, like some of them I was like, oh, that's fairly crazy. Like that sounds pretty awesome. So Renaissance Festival actors, alcohol, after after fest after Renfest parties. hmm, It's a dream. It's a dream. So what I said, we're at 37.5 in points, right? Up to the second, third. We're getting fairly close. And I'm really surprised that I was able to smoke this and have it last the entire show. Like I was really expecting that this would be done maybe around 9:15, 9:30. But we've been fairly lucky today. My father this week has got this Subaru Outback. I don't know what year, maybe 2014. His battery's dead. I've been trying to trickle charger for the last 2 days. Nothing. Not even with a trickle charger running 48 hours. Not even like it doesn't even light up. Like this battery's totally toasted. So now tomorrow I think I gotta go to Napa and get me a battery. Any recommendations on batteries there, Steven? Like 2014 Subaru, I think it is. No earlier than 2014. Could be a 2018 Subaru for all I know. Maybe that's it. 2018 Subaru Outback. Because I think my mom has the 2022 Subaru Outback. The more modern looking one, the bigger one. Like my family's always had Subaru. I've had a lot of Subarus Outbacks. Like the original we have from like the 90s is like, Subaru. What I think of Subaru. These newer ones are like boats. Like, oh man, these things are huge, man. Huge. It's kind of like how in the 80s the 3 Series BMWs were like, compact car. Then the new 3s are all like massive. You're like, wow, this is huge. This is like the 5 Series used to be back in the day. Devin says, go to Costco for batteries. Ooh, good point. I'll look that up. I will look that up tomorrow. That's one thing. I don't know why it is, but I mean, I've been a member of Costco since 1988. And for whatever reason, I never think of Costco for automotive. And I know they do automotive work. I know they do tires and batteries. I just never think about that. I need to think more about that. I need to remember that. They even do you could buy a car, you can make travel with Costco. Just forget about that. I remember back in that era, 1980, 89 maybe, one of my friends, her husband, who passed away a few years later, but at the time, her husband was assistant manager to the Costco in Hawaii. And I remember we were talking one day, because I'd been a member for at least a year or two at that point. I was like, his name was Jay also. I said, Jay, so I'm curious. I don't know how we got into the profitability of Costco at this particular occasion. So it's like 1989, 1990. He's like, yeah, last year we did $1 million in profit on $165 million in revenue. And I remember saying to him, I was like, that doesn't seem like a lot. Like $1 million profit on $165 million revenue. Like, that seems like nothing. Right? Well, that's not very good. But he was like, dude, how many retail stores do you know pull $1 million in profit per year? And I was like, oh, good point. Good perspective. Now the Costco's there are much larger, much more volume, I'm sure. They must make much crazier money. Probably 300 million or so a year, at least. So getting there, getting kind of hot. I'm going to have to put it down in a moment. Now I got to dispose of the butt for zero impact. I told them that since I'm watching my nephew that Thursday night I got to do my live. They're like, yeah, no worries. But I got to make sure that's clean. We're clean here, clean. Steven says I generally buy a battery from big auto parts chains that are open all hours of the night because generally I need to swap batteries when I'm off of work. Oh, gotcha. AutoZone. Okay, understood. My brother I think has an account at Napa. There's a Napa really close to my house. I was thinking about asking him, dude, What is there? Do you get a discount in Napa? But I'll look up the Costco one just in case. Do you find that brands make a big difference with batteries? So we're at 37.5, and I'm going to say that, okay, I'll say that I think it was good plus for the flavor of the last third. So another 7.5. So that gives us 45 points. Plus 8 for body, for very good body. 45 plus 8 is 53 points. And then we have a category for burn and draw. Burn and draw actually has been, what did I say? 53 points. Burn and draw has actually been excellent. Like it has actually been excellent the whole time. So I'll say 9. So 62 points. Consistency, it's been very consistent. Like it has progressively gotten better as we've gone through it, but not tremendously, but just incrementally better. From like the middle of the second third was better than before that, but it's been consistent. So while it has been very consistent, it hasn't been great. So I'm going to say we're at 62 points, right? So I'm going to say 8, very good for consistency, 70 points. And I think overall, good plus. So 77.5. 77.5 for this cigar. Steven says, I keep battery tenders on my cars I don't drive. Oh, how many cars do you have that you don't drive? My father normally drives his car quite a lot, so I was surprised that he ran out of it. I think he probably left one of the lights on, or that's just pulling a drain on it. Steven says, yes, brands do make a difference. I have no luck with O'Reilly's. I don't think we have an O'Reilly's here. Like I know the jingle. Maybe we do have one. I just don't know where any are. There's none where I live, as far as I know. Devin says, I think most batteries have a decent warranty coverage, so for me it comes down to price. Oh, okay, good. Understood. I had bought batteries through Napa before for my brother, for my Tacoma I bought the last one there. It's kind of expensive. Well, I don't know. I think it was like $180, which I think is expensive. I would like to see $50 batteries. 180 was like, oh my God, man, $180. What am I doing? I took my truck in for servicing at the local repair shop. They do a 35-point check when they do oil changes. The guy was like, you got a couple problems that we see. 10% left on your front brakes. You don't have to do that now. But before next time, you should want to take care of that. You got a nail in your right rear tire. Okay, that's not leaking. I'll go to my tire guy for that. And it's like their cabin filters need to be replaced. I was like, okay, well, it's been a while, so I bet they gave it to me, so it is pretty dirty. I was like, okay, replace that. $230. Not $230. Good Lord. Like I was talking with a friend of mine the other day, I was like, you could go to a repair shop, have them do your oil change, or do it yourself. But evidently the price of the oil and all that filters, it's almost the same price as having it done. I'm like, well, how would I do that? I don't know, now that I'm older, like I don't want to do the work anymore. Like I used to do that, oil changes. I used to do the construction, like the little bit of light carpentry and plumbing and electric. Like at the new shop, I don't want to do any of that anymore. I'm just like, I get the contractor guy, let him do all that. It's like, I could do it. I'm just lazy. It's like, I'm lazy. I'm too old for that stuff. Devin says, I don't like O'Reilly. Nobody likes O'Reilly. Those are Irish guys. They're sketchy. And George says, I must say you made a robusto last much longer than I thought you would make it last. I'm actually surprised too. Discipline is good. Next week at Churchill will be complete. Not with the way we talk here. That's why when I get to the longer cigars, I'm like, we got to start that. Like the one with like tweak to or whatever. We had the longer one. I was like, we got to start this right away. We'll, we'll light the cigar and then do the coffee instead of doing. So 77.5, not too bad. I think that's commensurate with what we experience. Like it's construction wise, this El Regalo Cubano has been very good, very good. Burn, draw, smoke production, everything about it has been very good. It's just the flavor, just didn't have that really would attract me to like be interested. Steven says if a battery lasts 3 years in Arizona, that's good stuff. Wow, really 3 years? Also AGM upgrade for better performance. I don't know what AGM means. What does that mean? Let us know. Let us know. AAA will install a battery for you. You pay them directly. Oh, that might be. So I have to call them too. We have AAA, so just call them and see what they say. How's our coffee milk? You know, this coffee milk still cold. Like it's still very cold. This lid, very good. It's just pleasantly fun. As fun as you would have drinking chocolate milk. I think it's might be worth investing in. This Eclipse brand, you can get it on Amazon. I don't know if I put the link on for Amazon here on this show notes, but if you look at this morning's live stream on the Ono Coffee channel, the main channel, this morning, I do have a link to it there. So if you want to, if you're looking for, or just search on Amazon Eclipse. It's about $12 for one bottle, a pint. Maybe next week we'll do the club soda version. See how it is more as a soda rather than a milk drink. Still going, still going. Steven says batteries now are pricey. The DGs at Zonies are 200. Oh my gosh, really? Oh, maybe I won't buy my dad a battery. Devin says highball. It's only highball. We'll do the highball next time. All right, I'm burning my fingers now. I'm going to put this down. I don't know where I'm going to put it because I got to put it somewhere where it won't burn anything and it will just go out. All right. Well, that's pretty much it, I guess, then for this week. It's almost 9 o'clock, almost 10 o'clock. So back again next week, Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, for another Coffee and Cigars live stream. So thank you very much for tuning in. Appreciate you being here. So come join us again if you can. Love to have you. And yeah, tomorrow, if you have time in the morning for the coffee Q&A live stream on the main channel, that starts at 10 a.m. Eastern. And we'll be doing, since I'm here at the house, they have Nespresso machines. So we're going to explore the Nespresso and see how Nespressos. I actually really haven't drank much Nespresso over the years. So it'll be kind of interesting. All right, so that's pretty much it. Thank you very much for tuning in. Devin, have a good night to you as well. Mom, Stephen, George, Tony. Hope you have a wonderful night out there, everybody else. Hope you have a great week. And look forward to seeing you next time. Yeah, man. All right, see you then. Have a great one.